let's get one thing straight. Doing a lot of nerfs and buffs and changes to everything every few weeks is not content. So unfortunately, the gameplay loop is still going to be the same for Outriders. However, we did get a huge patch balance, all kind of everything rolled into one. Today, the update is out. I'm downloading it right now. So I will let you guys know once I get into it. However, I'm going to do my best to do a recap of all of the notes and everything. So we've got two different Reddit posts here. We've got balancing changes here, and then we've got general changes and bug fixes. For the bug fixes and stuff, I'm going to go through pretty quick, but basically there is item locking now, which is awesome. There is quick mark improve. So I'm assuming that means that we can start marking apocalypse versus non-apocalypse, which is great. And then they have reduced the apocalypse tier grind a little bit. Don't get too excited. It's just 10%. All right, it's just 10%, and I think it's after 11. Crafting costs reduced, resource gains increase, expedition rewards improved, balancing changes are 80% buffs, and of course bug fixes. So for general changes and bug fixes, we're going to kind of scroll down with all this. We got item locking here, which is all great. We've got the apocalypse tier grind reduced. It's only 10% after apocalypse tier 20. So to 20, it's the same. And then after 20, you're going to get a 10% easier time, which is not a lot. So down here, we've got crafting costs and resource gains. So they're giving us a little more resources through the trial and also through the expeditions as well. So you can get anomaly extract through the trial or expeditions, and starting at item level 50, they're going to lower the cost required to upgrade, lower the anomaly extract cost, because anomaly extract is rough to come by, especially if you're upgrading multiple builds and you're going through the apocalypse tiers and trying out new stuff. Next, the apocalypse tier gear drop rates are going to increase as well. So starting at apocalypse tier 11, it's going to increase your chance for apocalypse variant gear. It's going to be increased. I don't know by how much, it doesn't say, and I don't have the game open. I'm downloading it right now, downloading the update. Expedition rewards have been improved, have been increased. This is amazing. They are going to start giving you more loot that is going to be comparable to the trial. So your loot gained per time investment basically should feel quite similar. So if you're doing a longer expedition versus a shorter one like Boomtown, you may not get as much from Boomtown, but you might get a lot more from like Heart of the Wild or something like that. But expeditions might be the way to go for XP and for anomaly extract and for gear. If you guys can do expeditions a lot quicker than you can the trial because of your build or whatever reason, or maybe it's just more fun because it's a little more varied and the enemy types and the atmosphere is a little more varied. I personally like the expeditions a lot more. So I think that's a really great way to get your gear and level up. All right, and then bug fixes down here, there are a bunch of them. So I'm going to let you guys go through and read them. The only one right here, which is highlighted, that I wanted to talk about, which I can foresee being a huge issue, especially for Technomancers. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about in this video is going to be for Technomancers when we get into the changes, because that's the only character I run thanks to the wonderful Apocalypse tier system. Okay, so fixed a bug that was causing status power provided by items to be multiplied instead of decreased as players increase their apocalypse tiers. This could unintentionally lead to increases as high as 700% status power at apocalypse tier 40. So I was about 300% myself at apocalypse tier 38. So I'm wondering what my status power is going to be when I log on today. I asked a friend of mine, they weren't running any status power on their gear, but they were at negative 9%. I think this is going to be a much bigger impact than they think, but this is going to make dot builds like not very good. We're going to see, because Blight Fire was also fixed. That's going to be in our updates to the classes. Blight Fire was fixed, so I really wanted to try a Blight Fire build, but if the status power is going to be a negative, then I feel like it's not going to work very well. So we'll see, but I'm really kind of upset about that. But those are all the bugs basically. So if you want to go through and look at every single one, if something was really bothering you and you want to be sure about it, then definitely go back there. But here we've got the balancing changes. There is a lot going on here. I'm going to try to get through it as quickly as possible. I'm going to focus mostly on Techno because I don't really play the other classes. If you guys don't know, my inventory was lost in the main game. So I have 2 Technos, and then the Apocalypse tier grind is so long in this game that I haven't wanted to make another character. All right, so down to general balancing changes. The Apocalypse tier level after 20 reduced by 10%. We already talked about. Resources anomaly extract, we already talked about. Cost upgrading, we talked about. Gear drop rates expedite, okay, we talked about all this. Balance changes, Devastator. Earthen Shell added a 0.5 second cooldown, greatly increased shield generation values. And multi-strike stored damage is now capped at 700% of anomaly power. I'm going to go through these quickly. Like I said, guys, I don't play these characters, so I have no idea what these abilities are. Go check out a Devastator or Pyro or Trickster mains if you're curious. I'm sorry. Terms of engagement, stored damage is now capped at 700% anomaly power. Finishing touch increased the ammo to weapon damage coefficient provided by this node. Impact point increased damage scaling from 30% to 50% of anomaly power. Increased base anomaly power and resistance piercing from 6 to 10% for obliteration. Interesting. Upheaval increased the percentage of stored damage from 10 to 15%. Oh, interesting. Wasn't upheaval like, did they nerf that? Was it like buffed a lot and then nerfed again, and then now they're buffing it by a little bit? As they applied a cap to multi-strike. Oh, okay. And a bug fix will now make upheaval only store the activating player's own damage. Oh, so it's not going to take everybody's damage into effect. So that's why we were hitting like crazy numbers in early access. That's so funny. Okay, so they fixed the bug. So they increased the actual number because it's only going to be your damage. All right, elitism. Fixed a bug that prevented the Devastator Pax node from correctly working on bosses. Reduced the cooldown on elitism from 5 to 1 second. Overwhelming force increased armor to damage conversion from 40% to 60%. Paladin/champion removed the protection keyword requirement and changed both nodes to activate on any skill. Mighty Tank increased the percentage cap from 40% to 50% for both anomaly and firepower. Despair reduced the percentage of its anomaly damage multiplier from 100% to 30%. Oh, yikes, dude. Debuff devs are going to be kind of upset about this. Your teammates might be upset about this if it's going from 100% to 30%. Yikes. All right, bullet acceleration increased base damage from 33 to 60. Strongest first increased damage to the enemy with the highest HP from 50 to 75%. Primal Chain increased the damage provided by the Primal Chain mod from 10 to 15%. Bannerlord Legendary Set added extra functionality that provides 35% anomaly power bonus. Ooh. Fundamental changes may not apply to existing. Oh, Lord. Okay. Martial Legendary Set increased both percentages of shared physical and anomaly damage from 30% to 50%. Primary attribute switched to bonus firepower for Concussion or Legendary Set. Interesting. Secondary attributes changed to close range and status. So that was completely changed. So now it's going to be firepower close range status. Statue's leg slot is now going to be bonus firepower instead of max health. Interesting. Okay, that's cool. All that stuff you got to regrind for, which is unfortunate because that happened to Techno with the torrential downpour set and the whatever the other one is. And I literally farmed for like 10-12 hours, and I think I got one torrential downpour piece that I could use. All right, on to the next. Here we go. Technomancer. Lethal devices added a 0.2 second cooldown to this node's secondary effect. Eek. With it being so low, lethal devices, I'm curious to see how well it does now, but I am on the train of wanting to, you know, be able to use some of the other stuff because the other packs tree for Techno is actually really nice, the cooldown. Twin Reaper increased echo damage from 25% to 35%. Fixed a bug that prevented Technomancer's Twin Reaper Pax node from functioning properly after loading into a level. So that's the echo for the sniper rifle stuff, which snipers still pretty much suck. Kinetic Converter reduced cooldown from 5 to 1 second. Okay, so the healing path, yeah, so this could be really good, reducing the cooldown from 5 to 1 second. The healing path for the Techno is actually pretty nice if you use it with a couple other things, and I was planning on using it in a build, but I was having issues with boss damage. But now that expeditions are hopefully just as good as the trial in terms of loot and stuff, and killing the Arbiter isn't the main focus of a lot of builds. There might be some fun builds I could throw out that would do really well in expedition speedruns. All right, Hasten Influence. Increase the cooldown reduction from 0.5 to 1 second. That's actually insane. 1 second instead of 0.5 every time I apply a status effect to an enemy. Woo! Yeah, this is really, really good. I already really like this Pax node. I already really like it. So, Burrowing Charge. Ooh, and they're buffing Burrowing Charge. Burrowing Charge is great. Excellent. It can outperform lethal devices when I switch to Burrowing Charge. Reduce cooldown from 5% to 3%. Obviously, you have to hit your criticals for Burrowing Charge. All right, Blight Fire. Fix a bug that caused the Technomancer's Flame Upper Blight Fire set bonus to consume and trigger off toxic that had been applied by other players. Oops. Which in turn denied those players their application of toxic. Yikes. Fixed a bug that prevented toxic multiplier mods from correctly working when applied to Blight Fire. Shit was broken, we fixed it. All right, so now Euthanizer, Toxic Piercer, Toxic Lead, all those kinds of mods are going to also apply to Blightfire, which is huge. It makes Blightfire a lot more viable. It was already really good. My biggest issue with the Blightfire set is that it was bad on bosses, or against specifically the Arbiter. It was great against expedition bosses, but the Arbiter, it struggled on because it's a dot build, right? And I'm just kind of worried about the status power change, if that's going to have a negative effect on the Blightfire build. Downpour Legendary set, which I still haven't gotten a new status power version of it, but with the status power changes, baby, I don't care. Increased clusters scaling from 100 to 150% or 115 as compensation for some still viable issues with targeting, travel time, and detonation of shrapnel. Yeah, dude, if I could actually throw the shrapnel like I could throw a grenade, that would be amazing, but you just can't. All right, on to Pyromancer. Carbon Footprint, increased cooldown reduction from 0.1 to 1. So that's similar to the Techno one that we just read about. Carbonization, increased damage multiplier from 20 to 25%. Ooh. Reduced cooldown of Convection from 4 to 2 seconds. Arsonist, reduced cooldown from 5 to 4 seconds. Solar Flare, increased critical damage per stack from 10% to 15%. So they're talking about the Immobilize and Critical Paths, which aren't used very much, so they're buffing those. Critical Mass, increased duration from 2 seconds to 5 seconds. Master Exploder, reduced conversion rate from 100% to 50%. Backdraft, reduced anomaly power ramp per stack from 30 to 25%. Trigger Sequence, increased damage ramp per stack from 25 to 35%. Burnt Offerings, increased damage ramp per tick from 10 to 20%. Wildfire and Conduction, fixed a bug that prevented the Wildfire and Conduction Pyromancer skill tree nodes from being effective if players were pushing the limits of their cooldown reduction. Interesting. So the nodes were not working as intended and was being diminished by the global cooldown reduction cap, which is achieved rather easily in Worldslayer. Yeah, true that. Mark of the Anomaly. Increase the damage against marked enemies from 10% to 12%. Susceptibility, reduced resistance reduction from 40% to 30%. Reforged Legendary set, increased Thermobomb damage from 100% to 200%. Increased Feed the Flame damage from 100% to 200%. Dang! They said the niche that Reforged was filling was overtaken with the introduction of Heatseeker. Okay, so they're bringing that up. Must be nice, man, to have like so many viable sets. You know what I mean? Can't say too much about the Techno. Some of the other ones just falling off. Torture Legendary set. Increased damage shared from 30% to 50%. Dang. Okay. All right, balance changes. Trickster. Increased shared damage from 20% to 30% for Quantum Entanglement. Special Tactics, increased duration from 3 to 5 seconds. Cheap Shot, increased debuff duration from 5 to 10 seconds. Increased armor resistance shred from 30 to 40%. Spectral Spike, cooldown reduced from 1% to 0.5 seconds. Temporal Blade, base cooldown reduced from 19.8 to 16.8. Wind Slash, increased base damage from 6.5 to 13. damn, that's a lot of increase. They basically doubled the damage there. Slow trap, cooldown reduced from 10 to 8 seconds. Terminal velocity legendary set, weapon damage bonus increased from 60 to 80%. All right. Balance changes for all classes. Maxwell's Demon Legendary set fixed an issue with the set bonus only accounting for bonus firepower instead of total firepower. Okay, awesome. Trigger Twitch Legendary set increased the firepower coefficient from 40% to 280%. Oh my gosh. Fixed a bug that prevented Twitter Trigger Twitch set from prioritizing targets properly. Launched with incorrect values. Okay. Mage's Rage. Uh-oh, here we go. Fixed a bug that was causing unforeseen issues with the amount of stacks and the anomaly power calculation. Fixed a bug that was preventing stacks from dropping away as intended when players swapped weapons. So you're not supposed to have it when you swap. Mage's Rage provided over twice of what was supposed to give in terms of anomaly power. This change sets the mod into the right place power-wise. While this change may feel significantly for any players who are exclusively relying on our overall balancing, has ensured that not all the excess power has been lost, rather it has been flowed into other mods and combinations in order to provide. So what was it doing? So is it still 40%? That's what I'm confused. Was it not 40%? Were we getting more than 40 and we didn't realize it? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see once we get into the game. Self-medication. Oh, my patch just updated. Fixed a bug that caused the self-medication mod to fully restore players' health. So now it's going to be 20% for every skill. Still very, very good. If you're having trouble with survivability, I would think that this is still a very, very good mod to use. No resistance against a fortified. Uh-oh. Reduce the conversion rate from 100% to 65%. Ugh. Oh man, that's rough. Dark Sacrifice reduced the health drain back to 25%, increased damage boost to 35%, so that's back up to a better spot. Killing Spree increased damage back to, or up to 13% from 10%. So I think Killing Spree was originally at 25%, went down to 10, and then now it's up to 13. Fortress increased damage boost from 20 to 25. So Fortress is now must have, I think. My personal opinion, it already was a pretty must have, but now I think it's back to being a must have for anomaly builds. Let me know what you guys think. First Things First was reduced to 30%. Great. Tactical Retreat increased base damage from 54 to 62. This Tactical Retreat thing is like really bad. I've used it a couple times. It's not very good. It takes too long to like actually explode, and you're not gonna like shoot at it or whatever. Anyways, Shock and Awe increased range to 10 meters, fixed a bug that the Shock and Awe mod to trigger more often than intended. Embalmer's Rage reverted this mod back to being a kill shot mod rather than a critical. Oh, interesting. Given the nature of Embalmer's Rage, it makes sense. So this one is, it basically said once you get a critical, then you get all criticals for like 3 seconds. So then like basically you could like always have critical shots going on. So I guess that's why they changed it back to kill shot. Anomaly power class nodes. This is enormous. You middle tree technos are about to be going bottom and then up through the middle. I'll tell you what, you're about to be looking at my skill tree real quick. Increase anomaly power from 10% to 15%. Weapon damage class nodes increase weapon damage value from 8% to 15%. So weapon damage has got a huge buff with this update as well. So that's great. And that's it for the balancing changes. That is all she wrote. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. There's a couple things that are definitely interest me to hop back on. They actually got me to hop back on. I didn't think I would. I thought I was done with Outriders, to be honest with you guys. They're really pulling me back in to try out some Blightfire stuff, so maybe we'll finally release our Blightfire build. I've been working on it for a while and I just never released it because it was just really bad at killing the Arbiter. But good at everything, really good at everything else, but maybe it's just an expedition build. Anyways, let me know what you guys want to see for Outriders content. I'll probably do maybe 1 or 2 videos, and that's probably going to be it for me, guys. It's so hard to motivate myself to get on to play when there's really not much else to do. You know what I mean? I am streaming over on Twitch. nowadays. I don't really have a set schedule, but if you want to follow me over there, twitch.tv/abbyhour. I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.